Wife cheated and let someone close to her know. Am I the a-hole? For a little context, I've been with my wife 13 years. She doesn't have a history of cheating. We have 2 kids together. Our relationship hasn't been great for a while. It seems like we're always trying to make it work. I'm going to try and be as unbiased with the telling of the story as I can be. A difficult thing to do, but I'll try. So, we just bought a new house together a little over a week ago and hired a contractor to build a small half wall around a set of stairs that leads to the basement. My wife had set up an ad looking for a contractor, so she was the one talking to him about times and whatnot. Last Saturday, she told me the contractor would be there around 11 a.m. My youngest daughter had dance class about a 25-minute drive away at 9:10 that morning. My wife asked me if I'd mind taking the other kid for a drive too, as with all the stress of moving, she just needed to relax. Which is understandable. She's the one who's done most of the planning. I know she's been stressed, so I say sure. I get back close to 11 a.m. and the contractor is there, and he just started what he was there to do that day. He left a while later. The following day, my wife starts talking about the contractor's background and mentioned he had past criminal history. She then tells me he was inappropriately messaging her and then admits she wasn't appropriate either. I ask if she had messages, and they had been deleted already. She said the inappropriateness didn't last long and that she was really sorry, but she had stopped a while ago. Obviously, I was upset about this, but I kept it together and told her I was going for a drive to clear my head and pick up something I needed. About 5 minutes after I left, my mind went back to the previous day and remembered that my wife had asked me if I could turn the water on so she could freshen up, as water to the house was shut off due to a slow leak, and that the contractor was there with her alone before I got there that day, and that she made sure both kids were out of the house. I turned around as something just felt off. I questioned her, and she eventually spit out that she had kissed, and that was all. Then after more prying, she admitted to going down on him. I was furious. I threw my cup of coffee on the ground, screamed a few expletives at her, and stormed out. I was crushed and furious. Now here's the part where I could be an a-hole. My wife's parents' opinion of her has always been very important to her. I'm not going to pretend I had good motives here. I wanted to hurt her like she hurt me. So I texted her mother and told her exactly what she did with the contractor, and told my wife that her deceased father would be thoroughly ashamed of her. She has struggled with his passing. It's been almost 5 years and it's still a struggle for her. I also sent my wife a screenshot of what I said to her mother. I realize it sounds childish that I told her mama on her more or less, but her mother's opinion of her means so much to her. She eventually got me back to the house that night. She had told me the dog got out and was missing. But when I pulled in, she told me that she had just come back, so I left again. She seemed to be having a mental health crisis, so I texted her mother and told her she needed to come down to stay with her daughter, but I would go back until she got there. When I got there, my wife was gone already, likely only a minute or two. My 2 kids were asleep inside, so I obviously went in, as I couldn't leave them alone, and again informed her mother of the change. After some texting, my wife pulled in and asked me to come out and talk to her. I insisted. I was too angry to have a calm conversation, and I wasn't going to. She said fine and told me to sleep in the house and she would sleep in a van. She convinced me to let her in to grab something. So I did, but she wouldn't leave. I tried to leave, but she eventually convinced me to sleep in the bedroom and she would sleep on a couch. I agreed. She made her way to the bedroom anyway. Eventually, we decided we wouldn't do anything too rash. I made it clear that I might still leave her yet. Kids in a new house purchase makes leaving difficult. She has admitted that what she did was terrible and unforgivable, and did seem remorseful. Over the last few days, she has been trying to get me to tell her mother that what I said wasn't true. I didn't tell anyone else, complaining that it has ruined her relationship with her mom, that she is so ashamed and can't even look at her. She did admit she cheated and kissed the contractor, but that is all she admitted to her mom. For the first couple days, I was firm and not a chance in hell would I do that. But I eventually decided that I don't want to permanently damage her relationship with her mother and told her that there was a miscommunication and I jumped to conclusions. Things had been going okay-ish, a few blowouts here and there, but today, my wife texted me and said that while she knows what she did was the worst thing ever, she doesn't know if she can forgive me for telling her mother what she did and ruining their relationship. Honestly, I saw red at that point. Am I overreacting here? I feel like she's trying to tell me that what I did was worse and unforgivable. Am I the a-hole? Clarity edit. This was the contractor's 3rd time at our house, and my wife had been chatting and flirting with him over the course of the week. He built a wall with drywall, so as most would probably realize you can't do all the mudding in one go. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, of course. She doesn't know if she can forgive me for telling her mother what she did and ruining their relationship. Don't care. Actions have consequences. This. Your wife played a mess around and find out game. It's squarely in the find out phase. Honestly, it's not even in the find out phase yet. OP is being far too forgiving of his spouse's intentional cheating, and she likely felt more comfortable doing it because they had just invested in a major, semi-permanent purchase of a home. She even got him to go back to sleep in the bedroom and then invaded that space. It doesn't seem like the first time she has done something wrong and then manipulated her way back into the picture. Not the a-hole. I would say super petty, but not the a-hole. She's trying to deflect the guilt to you. Also, I doubt it was just oral. I would say if you think you can forgive, then therapy is necessary. But if you can't forgive and let go, then I would say look at separation. Also, if she can't forgive you, then does she deserve forgiveness from you? Absolutely, it was petty. I 100% own that. After she admitted kissing, I felt that way too. She swore up and down on her deceased father and the kids that she didn't sleep with him. But the way she said it was what made me ask her about other things like oral. I asked her to swear on her deceased father that nothing else happened, and she wouldn't. That's when she admitted oral. I agree with your last point too. That's what has me so angry right now. How the heck can you say you're not sure you can forgive me for telling your mother what you did? The problem is you did it. Actions have consequences. I still think what I did wasn't out of line, but I recanted for her relationship with her mom. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife no? Original post. My wife, 35 female, and I, 38 male, have been married for 12 years, dated for 3 before that. We have 3 kids, 10 male, 7 female, 5 female. We both work full-time in separate fields. She does some chemistry thing that I don't understand, and I am a manager at a computer repair store my friend runs, and also a short story writer when it's slow. She is definitely the breadwinner bill payer between the two of us, but I bring in the fun money for our family and would be completely listless if I didn't at least work part-time. We also fully own our home because of her job. Also, my parents watch the kids for us during the week when we are working. It's been this way since our son was born, and they've been doing it less since they're all in school. But it's free childcare, and they refuse to accept money unless it's reimbursing for buying food. Okay, now that all of that backstory is set, here's where the problem begins. A couple of months ago, my wife started to pepper into conversations about a possible promotion coming up that would get her out of the lab and into a more managed lab team position with less dangerous hours for more pay. Ever since the first time she mentioned it, I've been hyping her up and telling her she's a shoo-in for the promotion, especially since she's been working there since her master's internship and now she has a PhD. Last night, she told me she was getting word today if she got it. After she left for work this morning, I called my boss up and told him I couldn't come in today, and then told my parents the kids were staying with me. We spent the day cleaning the house, drawing congratulations cards, and making a congratulations banner. We also made a couple cards that say sorry and we love you for if she didn't get it. I was working on making her favorite dinner, lobster rolls with lobster bisque because she's a fancy lady, when she got home earlier than normal. Everyone was surprised because no one is usually home at this time, and yet here everyone was. She got tears in her eyes seeing everything we were still working on, got down and hugged our 2 youngest, and said she got the promotion. Cheering all around. And that's when she dropped the bomb, saying we need to get a realtor in estate 3 away from us so we can relocate within the next 2 months. I was stunned and just said no. We aren't moving for this promotion. In all of her talks, she never mentioned that the promotion wasn't for the same location she's been at. All of our family's here. Her parents and mine, all of our friends are here. My job is here. She insisted that she's mentioned relocating before, but I swear she never did. That set off a completely new argument about never listening to her and only hearing what I want to hear, and how this will make it so I can stay home with the kids and not even need a fun money job. During this, I noticed she was typing on her phone, and when I asked why she was multitasking an argument, she said she was texting my parents to get the kids so they don't have to see this. When my parents got here, they congratulated her on the promotion and asked how long until we move. She told my parents the promotion included relocation. I'm typing this on the couch in the basement because I can't face her right now. My parents knowing means she probably did say we would need to move if she got it. I don't want to move. I like my job and our house. I like being near my parents. I know this would practically set us for life, but I don't want to. I know I'm being selfish, and I know I must not be listening when she talks, but I still don't think she should accept the promotion. I still think no. Now for the update. Info. I've been tested for ADD as a kid but did not get diagnosed, though I guess that would be something that can change as I age. I probably should get tested for ADHD, considering she's told me her exact job many times and it refuses to stick in my brain. It's something to do with the environmental testing, like soil, water, etc. It's definitely not incredibly dangerous, but it involves chemicals, so there's always some danger. Info. There were many conversations in general about her possible promotion, mostly about upgrading cars and electronics. It was never really anything detailed beyond that. Info. I don't actually know why my parents never mentioned it. I should probably ask them at some point. Info. Our kids do have friends in school, though in these few weeks they never really talked about anything with me. It was like everyone was walking on eggshells where I was concerned. My son did say we needed a school with a good soccer team though, so he had some opinions after the argument. Info. When my parents got the kids, she stormed up to our room and I went and hid in the basement. I was definitely being a coward, but I also wanted us both to calm down. It did feel silly asking this forum about this, but I've been here since 2010. I was falling back on previous safe heaven. The next conversation did not happen. That next morning, she was acting like I was perfectly fine with everything, and we weren't arguing in the first place. It was weird, but after the argument in front of our kids and venting here, I decided that I would support my wife. If my parents knew we were moving, I was clearly in the wrong. Now for the update. This is of course when things started breaking down. Buckle up. This is going to get stupid. And if you think this sounds like a bad story, you try living it. Within days of the announcement, we had a realtor looking at houses for us near what will be her new office. She was planning on being the one to do a final walkthrough after we picked a house via photos, so she could multitask and get acclimated at the new job location. It was her suggestion, and I did not want to rock the boat any further. Conversations between us were only about logistics at this point. How would we handle moving? When was my last day? Where were the kids getting transferred to, etc.? It was very stilted. At any time I would try to just talk normally, she would ignore me. The next time I had work, one of her coworkers came in with her kid's busted laptop. The screen took some kind of sports ball to the face basically. As I was filling out the intake form, she asked me how our kids were handling the transfer. When I asked her what she meant, she clarified that she was talking about the transfer request my wife put in to the office she's had a promotion transferred her to. I told her that my wife didn't put in a transfer request, but instead was given a promotion with a transfer. She then told me my wife's had that promotion since January and recently put in a transfer request that was approved. The promotion that included a hefty pay raise. When she left, I checked our bank account on my phone and saw that the same amount she's always been paid was still what she was getting. I believed the coworker must have been mistaken, but when I went home, I spoke to my wife about it. She told me that the coworker was just jealous she had been passed over for the promotion and wanted to add to the drama in our house. That seemed to break the ice a bit, and I was able to apologize to her for the misunderstanding and the argument. She told me she accepted the apology and that she assumed it was coming because of how helpful and attentive I had been. According to her, I was paying more attention than normal, and she appreciated it. She must have spoken with a coworker about this at some point, because when she came to pick up the laptop a few days later, she refused to speak with me past hello and here's the bill and was glaring the entire time. After that conversation, things seemed to settle. I wasn't happy about the relocation, but I didn't want our family to break apart all because I wasn't paying as much attention as I should. This new attitude was the final nail. We had started organizing things, throwing away and donating things we didn't remember even having, etc. to prepare for the move. While I was going through a closet where she normally hid the kids' Christmas presents, I found a few old laptops. She claimed that she hides everyone's presents in that closet and that I found her birthday present for me. Just some things to tinker while we settle. Not totally weird, but it was a little. She probably knows about as much about my work as I do about hers. I also found a few books that belonged to her mother, so I figured that I could start to mend that bridge as her parents never liked me and bring them the books. I did not tell my wife about this, but considering the level of dust on them, I'm sure she forgot they were there. Her parents live a few hours away from us, not even slightly as close as my parents, but they would still be states away after the move. I drove the entire way, no meeting halfway or anything. It was an awkward meeting, but her mom did appreciate me bringing the books to them. Apparently, she thought she had lost them. We did some stilted small talk over a late lunch, and I asked how they felt about my wife's promotion and move. They seemed a little confused, and stuff was slowly unraveled. According to her mother, she mentioned the promotion in January when she got it. She had mentioned to her dad that we were saving the extra money just in case because of a business venture my boss and I were planning. According to her, we were going to try opening a location in the city we were moving to, and I would be leading it. Her parents said they knew I had some failed investments and plans in the past, so they were honestly not hopeful this would go well, but they were glad she was able to transfer with her promotion to the other office. Guys, I had no idea what they were talking about. Investments or plans? I'd done the same job since college, and I've never invested money a day in my life. I said as much and then also told them I was going home to talk to wife. I don't really know how they reacted. I was basically in tunnel vision. Probably shouldn't have been driving. So much ran through my head during that drive home, and I was ready to confront her about everything. I guess her parents called while I was driving back, and it tripped her up enough that she just told me everything. She was cheating on me, had been for years. Once she got the promotion in January, she set up a second bank account and had them split the check between the two. Her boyfriend in the city we were moving to had access to the new account. He already owned a house, but he used some of the money to fix it up a bit and was just waiting for us to come. I guess to sweep her off her poor feet after my business venture failed. She didn't tell me about relocating on purpose. She's been poisoning her parents' thoughts of me for years, and she's been lying to my parents and children. She also told a coworker that started this thread that I never listened to her, and the misunderstanding was just another instance. She told me she never thought so many things would come undone at once. She's still planning on moving. Me and the kids aren't.